Hey, this is Mike with Two Rivers. Today we're going to install a transducer for a hummingbird. There's been a lot of questions asked. What do I set my transducer at? Do I use a level? I've seen people using coins. I guess the coin trick's okay as long as you have a body of water beside you that you can go in and out of. If not, we'll give you a pretty good general area where to set it, and then it'll just be some fine adjustments after that. So, let's get into it. I made some marks here on the rigging board where there's rows of rivets. That way I get a little bit less turbulence from the rivets on the transducer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the transducer on the side of the boat. I'm going to see where the highest point is here. And I'm just going to be right on the edge of that with the bottom of my transducer. I got my marker here. I'm just going to make some lines. And that's where I'm going to pre-drill my holes. So what I'll do is I'll drill them in the center. That way I've got enough play up and down. Okay, so I went and picked up my bit. And I've got the screw in my hand. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this. I'm not trying to get a screw that's just going to be big enough that or too big where I have not enough meat to grab with the screw. So I'll grab the drill. I'll drill my holes. All I am doing is drilling through the rigging board till it hits the hull and then I stop. And you can see all these pigtails of plastic that come out. The only reason I pre-drill is I don't want these pigtails on the screws, as then it doesn't give it a good area for it to grab. At least here it has the room to get in, bite tight, and then it won't move. Okay, so let's grab the gun and let's get these screws in there. This is a part where you have to use some manual, not the gun. Problem with the gun is it'll get it in there and then it'll strip it. Grab the screwdriver, start one of the screws in here. It's going to take a little bit of time, get them in. I've got the center screw in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look, see where I'm at. I'm just at the bottom of the hull. And then I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. Then I'll add the other two screws. So I'm just going to loosen them off a little bit. That way I can move my transducer up and down. A lot of people say use a straight edge, but I've got a bunk in the way so I can't. So I'm going to do this by eye. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it just above the bottom of the hull. I'll tighten that center screw. Then I'm going to rotate the transducer till it looks level. I can put a level on it, but it'll be fine. And just snug it up. Doesn't have to be cranked right down. There it is, now it's sitting there. The next thing you want to set is probably just a tilt on it, up or down. Okay, so now we have it mounted. One of the big things I always see when somebody complains that they don't get a great reading after they've done their electronics install, is a lot of people seem to have it cranked right down like this. So if we think about the way your boat rides, if your boat sits like this in the water while you're driving and then you've got it cranked right down, it's shooting so far ahead that it'll never get that reading. So if I bring it to the level point roughly, and I like to bring it up just a little bit, probably about a 3 or 4 degree kick on the back. Just for laughs, I got this. We know that this is already at 15. If I was to set this at 0, so there's my 0 point. If I just bring it up a couple of degrees, I'm usually pretty happy with that, and that's usually a good starting point. And then from there, all you have to do is just make adjustments. If you get spray, then that means it's too far down. If you start to move and then all of a sudden it begins to lose the bottom right away, your transducer will be sitting too high. Once you get used to just making those small adjustments, then you'll figure it out pretty quick and you'll get an excellent reading even while you're driving. Just kind of want to give you some of the recap of some of the stuff I use. You know, like I use my own style of rigging board. I make my own. I go buy my plastics. It's 3/4 of an inch thick. The ones that you buy, they're only 1/2 inch thick. I think I have one somewhere around here. There it is. So it's a 1/2 inch thick. The screws that come with the transducers are always Butterfingers, are always too long. That's pretty much a 1/2 inch sticking through. And what it is they give you these screws that aren't very good to go through to screw directly into your hull, and not everybody wants to put a bunch of holes in their hull. So I'll go out, purchase stainless steel screws, and you can see this one here, it still pokes through. So what ends up happening is if you use the wrong size screw, it actually pushes this board away from the back of the hull, and what will end up happening is you get a bad reading because the transducer is all wonky. With the water pressure, it begins to actually loosen this right off. So when I make my own, I buy a thicker plastic. As you can see here, the screw does not go all the way through, and then once you get the transducer mounted on there, you've got another probably 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch thicker metal. After I build my own rigging board, I'll use my own screws, stainless steel tapered, self-tapping. And then I'll use a good marine grade silicone to mount it to the back. That way it sticks and I don't have to worry about it. Also, things to do is clean the board, clean the back of the boat before you silicone it on there. And there's a screwdriver. They make these screwdrivers so you don't strip the screws or snap them. You'll learn how to get the right feel. And just in case you get in trouble, there's these things that guys don't like to use. They're called instructions. This is a kind of a good guideline here. As you can see, they've got everything written down that you might need, but typical guy, don't use instructions. I learned the hard way. So if you get a lot of excessive spray, transducer could be too deep or the back end is too far in the water. If you get bad readings, transducer might be pointed too far ahead or too far up or too high out of the water. And remember, make sure there's nothing that's going to obstruct the water flow under the transducer, otherwise you're going to get bubbles and a crappy reading. Till next time, stay safe, good boating, and if you like this video and it helped you out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, good or bad. I can handle the bad comments. Goodbye.